The South Korean government says it is closely watching developments in North Korea, which is believed to be planning a fifth nuclear test. Pyongyang claims that the recent group defection of North Korean restaurant workers to the south is a case of abduction by the Seoul government. And strong gusts in Busan measuring in at 24 meters per second caused a 3,500-ton cargo vessel to run aground, resulting in an oil spill. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Monday, April 18th. I'm Luke Clary. The South Korean government says it is closely watching developments in North Korea, which is believed to be planning a fifth nuclear test. If Pyongyang proceeds with the test, the result will undoubtedly be higher tensions on the Korean Peninsula.
The South Korean government believes that the North is highly likely to conduct a fifth nuclear test soon because the number of personnel and the use of equipment at the Punggye-ri nuclear site has doubled and even tripled recently. Seoul believes that the staff are technicians in charge of nuclear tests and the equipment is their vehicles. If Pyongyang decides to conduct the nuclear test, it will likely take place at approximately the same time as the next Workers' Party Congress, which is slated for early May. The South Korean military says the North will likely detonate compact nuclear warheads underground. Last month, Pyongyang unveiled a replica of an atomic bomb equipped with more than 70 high explosive lenses to show off significant progress in the development of compact nuclear warheads. If Pyongyang's next nuclear test goes successfully, it will signify its ability to use nuclear warheads in all kinds of missiles. Therefore, the fifth nuclear test will pave the way for the deployment of nuclear weapons in times of war.
소형화된 전술핵 무기를 실전 배치하는 단계가 되고 그 수량도 상당히 빠르게 늘어날 것이라고 보죠. 이제는 굳히기 단계로 들어가겠죠.
Seoul says that if Pyongyang proceeds with the nuclear test despite the UN Security Council's sanctions, it will inevitably face additional tougher sanctions that will be tantamount to a blockade of the North Korean regime.
North Korea has made repeated claims that the recent group defection of North Korean restaurant employees to the south is a clear case of abduction. Apparently aware of the impact the story will have on North Korean society, North Korean news outlets have not yet reported on the group escape.
A North Korean propaganda outlet has released interviews with North Korean residents, raising the level of criticism against the group defection of 13 former employees at a North Korean restaurant in China.
해외에서 봉사활동을 하던 우리 청업원들을 납치해 가고도 인도주의에 모여하며 짓거려 댄다니 꿀오르는 격부를 금할 수 없습니다.
The interviewees all bore the gold-colored name tags which are often worn by North Korean restaurant staff. It appears that following the defection of overseas restaurant employees, workers in that same sector were mobilized for international propaganda.
남선 당국은 무서운 철치가 서울 한복판에 떨어지기 전에 모략서 등에 대해 즉각 사죄하고 납치해간 우리 사람들을 당장 돌려보내야 합니다.
The North's Committee for the Peaceful Reunification of the Fatherland, Pyongyang's agency in charge of South Korean affairs, also raised the level of its threats, saying that it will retaliate against the Cheongwade unless Seoul punishes figures involved in the defection and promises to prevent the recurrence of similar incidents. The North's stance regarding the group defection of restaurant employees was publicized only through external outlets, including its first official response on April 12th. Major domestic outlets in the North, such as Korea Central TV and the Rodong Shinmun, have not yet mentioned the case at all. Analysts posit that the North Korean regime is concerned about possible internal unrest caused by news of the group defection, as it is currently focusing on strengthening solidarity ahead of the Workers' Party Congress next month, an occasion in which the era of Kim Jong-un is to be announced.
Over the weekend, the southern port city of Busan was hit by strong gusts measuring in at 24 meters a second. As a result, a 3,500-ton cargo vessel ran aground, causing an oil spill.
A 3,500-ton stranded cargo ship is hit by powerful waves. The ship had been pushed by gusty winds from an anchorage in the sea off Busan for about 2 kilometers in the early hours on April 17th. The 2 cables that were holding the ship at the time were of little help because of the winds blowing at 20 meters a second and sea waves as high as 4 meters.
파도에 이 밧줄이 밧줄이 끊어지면서 배가 계속 밀려서 이 연안에 좌초된 사건입니다.
All 5 of the ship's crew were rescued, but an oil spill occurred when the ship crashed against the rocks on the shore. The spilled oil has spread all the way to the sea off nearby fish markets. More than 800 Coast Guard officials and public servants were mobilized to contain the spill. The Korean Coast Guard has summoned people in charge of the ship's operation to investigate the accident and is discussing measures to prevent additional oil spills.
A wide array of safety measures have been devised following the sinking of the Seoul ferry 2 years ago. Many local governments created facilities to provide hands-on safety experiences, and the central government is planning to establish a similar facility itself. However, critics say that the plan is not realistic.
This is a lifestyle safety experience center that opened in March last year. However, safety education will not be possible until the end of the year, as the center uses part of a civil defense drill site and additional facilities are still under construction. More than 160 safety experience facilities nationwide are operated in a similarly disorganized way.
안전처가 예를 들면 돈을 다 내서 지은 뭐 그런 것도 또 아니기 때문에 완전히 관할 하에 두는 그런 개념은 또 아니라서.
Despite this situation, the Education Ministry plans to build comprehensive safety experience facilities in 8 additional regions, including Gyeonggi and South Chungcheong provinces. This involves taxpayer money of over $52 million. Even so, the ministry requires schools to shoulder the expense for safety personnel when students use the facilities. This is why some are voicing criticisms that the government's safety measures are not realistic.
체계적인 교육 시스템이 지금 부족하다고 볼 수가 있죠. 업무 연속성이 될 수 있는 그 체계를 갖출 수 있도록.
Experts stress the need for additional measures such as a focus on fostering instructors specializing in disaster management who can diagnose on-site problems.
More than 60% of high-end imported cars in Korea are registered under corporate names. However, many are used by the company's owners and their families for private purposes. The government has revised relevant laws to prevent tax evasion by owners of expensive imported vehicles. Here's how things have changed since the new regulations took effect.
Imported cars are easy to see on the streets of Korea these days. You can also see them parked in the parking lots of apartment complexes during the day, long after the morning commute. Many of them remain parked in the same spot for a long time because their owners do not use them for daily commute.
출퇴근 용도로 타시는 차는 그냥 이제 부산차 타시는 분들도 많으시고 이제 집차는 다 수입차들 많이 타시죠.
Surprisingly, you can see many high-end imported cars in the evening in front of private tutoring schools. 1 in every 3 cars parked in front of tutoring schools is an imported car. Their owners are parents who come to pick up their children late in the evening. We tried to find out who the owners of luxurious imported cars are.
이사분들 정말 많이 하세요. 와이프분이 이렇게 타시는 분들도 많이 있으시고.
While looking through data provided by the Korea Automobile Importers and Distributors Association, something drew suspicion. Imported cars costing between $43,000 and $52,000 were mostly owned by individuals, whereas imported vehicles costing over $87,000 were owned by corporations. Last year, 59 Rolls-Royces costing over $340,000 each were sold in the nation, but all of them were purchased by corporations. About 61% of these imported leisure vehicles that sell for over $80,000 a unit are registered under corporate names. Corporations that receive loans for cars get significantly more benefits than individuals. Corporations owning cars are responsible for paying all costs, but they also receive tax exemptions. Such tax exemptions surpass $2 billion annually.
솔직히 사업하다 보면 회사 일이랑 개인 일이 구분이 잘 안 되잖아요. 일단 회사차로 등록하고 급할 땐 개인 일로 쓸 수도 있는 거고.
To prevent tax evasion by owners of imported vehicles, the government revised the law back in February. Under the new law, tax exemptions are only provided for car-related costs of under $8,700. For costs that exceed the limit, car owners are mandated to submit documents proving that they use their vehicles for business purposes. Sales of imported cars declined temporarily after the new regulations took effect, but they have been on the rise since March. Car dealers even tell customers how to evade taxes.
근데 막 무슨 운행 기록부 이런 거.
그거 작성만 하시면 되죠.
그죠.
The new regulations were eased when a bill was passed by the parliament.
처음과 다르게 기업이나 특정 법인들의 눈치 보기식으로 끝나버려서 사실상 시민들에게는 실효성이 없는 그런 좀 반쪽짜리 개선이라고 생각합니다.
The government is facing numerous obstacles in preventing tax evasion by owners of imported cars because tax authorities are only responsible for conducting follow-up inspections.
Goats are wreaking havoc on uninhabited islands and national maritime parks. The animals are destroying the ecosystem on the islands by eating too much of the vegetation there. The National Park Service has launched a new campaign to capture the goats.
Paegya Island is a 30-minute boat ride away from Jin Island. The island has been taken over by goats, which were released to graze on the uninhabited island in the past and have since propagated. 90 goats are devastating the island, eating away even the bark and roots of trees. A goat removal team has launched a mission to capture the wild animals and protect the ecosystem of the island. The team isolate the goats, which follow their leader in one corner of the island. However, some of the goats hide in cliffs which cannot be accessed by people.
처음에 하도 험하고 그러니까 잡아내기도 힘들고.
The team gives up on capturing the animals with nets. A new strategy is employed to lure the goats to the edge of a rock. The team finally succeeds in loading the animals onto a boat which has been brought to the rock. Some 900 wild goats currently reside on 20 islands in national maritime parks.
3년 동안에 20개 섬에 대하여 염소 구제 작업을 실시하고 생태계 복원 사업에 최선을 다할 예정입니다.
The National Park Service has decided to return the goats to their owners upon receiving a guarantee that the animals will not be released again.
Due to higher than usual temperatures last winter and this spring, there are growing fears that harmful insects will cause greater damage on farms this spring. KBS brings you this report on the government's pest control measures.
The branches of peach trees are covered with a white foreign substance that resembles snow. Underneath the bark, the branches are filled with planthopper eggs. Nearby persimmon trees are also in a similar plight. Even insecticides are useless if they are not sprayed at the proper time. The higher number of harmful pests that have survived the winter is due to the warmer temperatures. The average temperature in Korea during the 3 months leading up to last month was 2.3 degrees Celsius, 0.6 degrees higher than usual. The area affected by lanternflies has increased by 51% from last year, and the number of farms affected by planthopper eggs has jumped 10%. As a result, eggs stuck to the branches must be removed in advance, and pesticides must be applied earlier than usual.
4월과 5월 사이에 약충이 부화될 때 방제를 전년보다 한 4, 5일 정도 빨리.
The Jeollabuk-do Agricultural Research and Extension Services and the Korea Forest Service will launch a joint effort to remove harmful pests flying into orchards from nearby mountains and provide measures to make use of the vermin's natural predators.
If you ever take a look at the packaging of your most commonly used detergents, you will see the numbers 1, 2, or 3, which indicate how they're supposed to be used. Today, we let you in on this crucial information about kitchen detergents that many may not know. Here, housewives appear especially thorough in choosing a dishwashing detergent. How do they choose? What are their standards?
주방 세제로 그릇도 닦고 하니까 친환경이라고 하면 더 눈길이 가죠.
The very first thing you need to check when choosing a washing liquid is the number which indicates the detergent's use. Kitchen detergents are divided into 3 groups denoted by 1, 2, and 3. The first group of cleaners can be used to wash food that goes into people's mouths, including veggies and fruit. Detergent Group 2 is mainly used to wash utensils, while Group 3 is for washing food processing apparatus and tools.
2종과 3종은 수소나트륨과 같은 그런 표백작용 성분이 있습니다. 1종보다는 세척력은 더 좋습니다. 그렇지만 2, 3종은 과일이나 채소 같은 사람이 먹는 음식에는 사용하지 않는 것이 좋습니다.
Some products do not bear a number. In this case, read the label to ensure the proper use. To be even safer, try this. Dilute the detergent in water. The level of surface active agents is reduced this way and will be better for your skin. There's also a way to make your own homemade detergent using natural ingredients.
EM은 유익한 미생물들을 혼합한 용액으로 악취 제거와 수질 정화 등의 효과가 있고 나쁜 세균을 억제하는 힘도 있어서 세제로 활용하면 좋습니다.
Don't throw away used water from washing rice and keep it in a 1.5-liter plastic bottle. Then, add 20 milliliters of effective microorganisms, or EM, liquid. Also add a spoon each of sugar and bay salt and shake the liquid for a good mix. As the natural detergent ferments, the plastic bottle will swell up, so make sure to open the lid every other day to let out the gas. After a week, you can use the all-natural cleaning liquid made with leftover water from washing rice. With today's tips, use your detergents now in the proper, safe way. Now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. That's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.